Hello, this is Mike Senn. Last night, Amazon delivered a package for me that I can't wait to put to use. Let's unbox this thing. Well, actually, I unboxed it last night and put it on the charger, but I'm going to show you exactly how it came. Alright, so this is the Amazon packaging. As we know, Amazon likes to send a big box for what they send you. There was no material in here to keep this from sliding around. Of course, I had two things. Got my favorite guy, Deadpool, here. That sticker was all crushed up. This box bouncing around inside. Anyways, I got the Thor LT thermal rifle scope. I've been looking at a lot of the ATN stuff. I do have one of their night scopes, or a day-night scope from many years ago. And right now, switching from using the FLIR scope to find little varmints that I'm out trying to take out, usually with a 22 or such. It's difficult to switch over from finding them using thermal imagery to just a spotlight or night vision or whatever I've got on my rifle. So anyways, I can't wait to put this scope to use. This is one of their lower end models. It doesn't have all the gee-whiz stuff. I don't need to film my shots. I don't need to send it over to my camera. All that other stuff. So I looked at this. What I'm looking for is just something small, something simple to use, gives me a good thermal image so I can take a shot. That's what I believe the Thor LT is going to do. Plus, it's the just a little over $1,000, and it's if I'm going to try them out, this is it. I want ease of use. Not a lot of buttons. Don't want to be playing with my camera. Don't want a lot of updating and all that weird stuff. I just want a scope I can put on my rifle and shoot varmints with. Hogs, armadillo, possum. I know they all have their reasons for being there, but the place I'm hunting these things, they're more destructive than anything else. Alright, so comes with a nice little bag to put in there. It's nothing hard, but you know, once this goes on the rifle, I really don't need a case for it, so I might use this to cover it up. I did do some research on this, and when I research one of these products, I like to start off with all the bad mouthing first. So I'll use the negative comments, or the least amount of stars given to a product. I want to see what the problems are, and I'll look for them and see if I experience the same thing. Give them a fair shake. I did see a lot of and this is a really thick cord too. This is a USB cable. It's a USB-C. C means it's got that little new rounded end to the cable. Very thick cord. Probably about 4 feet long. High-speed USB cable. You can tell by that little blue. One of the negative write-ups, and this, you know, your Android phone, the newer Galaxy Androids charged with these. Easy access port. Now I do have a FLIR, F-L-I-R, thermal imaging, and the little port to charge it is a real pain in the butt to get out. This is easy. I like the way it's got a little bit of extra cord here, so this thing doesn't look like it's going to rip off. And one of the write-ups said that this doesn't fit in there that well. It's a good snug fit. I like it. Works pretty well. I put it on a charge all last night. I couldn't find any exterior lighting that showed that I was plugged in and charging. However, when you turn it on button, you can hear it click. Not sure if that picked it up, but on the top of the video screen, see if I can find it. There we go. Top right hand, I'm pointed right at it there. You can see, there you go, that's what your image looks like. Top right hand corner, I got a full battery charge there. And it looks like I've got some kind of inclinometer and level meters to the left and to the right. So, here's a few of the things that I saw on this. Turn it off now. It's off. Alright. What I like is you can increase or decrease the intensity of your imagery that you're looking at. Now, I was driving around with somebody else's scope the other day. was really impressed with the resolution, but it was in absolute brightest mode, and it was hard to fumble around, especially in the dark, to find where I could dim it. And I don't know if I could even dim it at all, but I noticed that, man, I was blinded in the eye that I was using to use the thermal scope on. So anyways, this is very lightweight. It does not come with rings. I ordered them ahead because it does say it doesn't come with rings. You'll need to find them on your own. But and there is a focus. I noticed you've got some coarse focusing on one side and a little more fine focusing. So you've got, I kind of looked around with it, and I was able to see different images around the house, especially any cameras that I've got, night vision cameras and such that are up as part of the security system. I was able to find them pretty quickly. They're a little bit warmer, and I was able to focus in on them with pretty decent resolution. Looks like this is the eye cup, or may or may not use this. I'm going to see how much of a problem it is. I wear glasses now as we get older. It's unfortunately one of the things I'm going to need. So they talk about optional equipment. I did a lot of research on this. I like the idea of a quick detach mount so I can move from weapon to weapon with this. But I also read that this is a piece of garbage, so I didn't pay a lot of money for it. All right, for the scope mounting, like I said, I did. Hey, look at this. I'm going to post a review. Hopefully it'll be a good one. All right, I did look at the price of these. I was thinking of ordering it. I think it's a wonderful idea, but there were so many negative reviews. I didn't like it. I chose not to get it. I'll see whether or not I'll even need this pack. And when it comes down to targets to zero in, well, you know what? I already kind of came up with an idea. I've done some thermal shooting before. I'm going to heat up a target, put it out where I can zero it in. These are some pretty expensive targets. And, well, frankly, I just don't know how well they work. And I don't know. So I'm not going to review that. I'll review how I end up sighting this in after I choose which weapon I'm going to put it on. I did get the medium mounts, and I believe, if you look at this, couldn't really find a lot of information on what was going to be large enough, but I believe the medium mount is going to work well for this. There's some, this should give me just enough clearance for this to put on any of my Picatinny or Weaver rails. So, I can't wait to go try this out. And that will be tonight. Okay, quick rundown of the Thor LT features. Business end, the part you look in. Focus, fine focus. Call this focus adjustment, diopter adjustment. Power switch. Separate from all the other buttons. It's nice because you're not going to accidentally push this when you're fumbling around in the dark trying to select one of these other features. Polarity. Hey, do you want to see your images as white or as black? The hot objects will either be white or black depending on what you select. Brightness. 5 different settings for brightness. As you click through them, we've got it on. You can see the brightness starts in the brightest, and you can dim it down. That's really nice so that you don't lose your night vision. I've looked through some other ones that are constantly on full bright, and man, you got a hard time seeing at night. Zoom. Now, I'm not pointed at anything. I'll try to show it zooming later on, but it's just a step zoom. Contrast button. So you can increase, decrease your contrast, and if you have a setting that you like, down in the lower right corner, I'll push the button. You can see a little contrast button will change. In the middle, the nuke button. Now that's a non-uniformity compensation button. A quick press of this, and the website says that go ahead and cover this when you press it. What happens is thermal imagery gets pixelization after a while. This is a removal button, so you can go through, cover the lens, do a quick push, and it calibrates, and removes any pixelization that's on there. They say if you don't cover it up and you do this process, you press this button for some reason, you could get some ghost imagery. So all you have to do is do it again, but cover it up. So if you accidentally push this button, you just want to cover it up, push it again, and that'll calibrate it. These are dual functions, so you can also zoom in, zoom out, up, down features. I'll get into those later on. But okay, so real quick again, the recap: polarity, brightness, zoom, contrast, the nuke feature. Now, this one, if you long press it, you'll pull up a menu. So we're going to pull up the menu real quick. Again, there we go. So you can see what the menu looks like. That just came up. Okay, I've decided to mount my Thor LT on the Savage Mark II 22 Gemtech silencer. I'll be using subsonic rounds. Now, first thing I want to do is go ahead and sight this thing in. So I want to make sure I'm at least on paper. This thing only sees hot objects. So I'll show you how I'm going to work on that. I have a nice, cool bullet trap and target. Everything is nice and cool, except for our target. Let's go ahead and heat this baby up a little bit. Nice little cigar lighter ought to do that, or a torch, or whatever you've got. But I'm going to have a nice contrast here. Let's have a look at what it looks like. Taking a look at my first two shots, which were aimed directly at the center of this. I got shots, one right on top of the next. Those are subsonic Calibris. They're probably going to fall a little more than most, but I'm at a pretty short range. So let's go ahead and dial this in so I'm right on. Using the menu button, which is a long press right on there, I'll bring up the menu inside the scope, and it'll show me to keep the reticle on the target, and I'll move the point of impact where the impact was. I guess you're supposed to zoom in on that. I'll figure that out once I've had a look down it. I'm going to try to move the point of impact onto what I'm aiming at. There's a little bit of imagery. That was an auto nuke function that you just saw when it flashed on and off. And did it again. All right, so I am looking at a vehicle that I just drove, a slingshot. See the tires. The white part of the tires are the hotter parts, and that's because the sun is hitting that part of the tire. Back part is in the shade. You can see the resolution on this is pretty good. I'm also holding the camera, so you're seeing a picture of a picture. Now, let's go ahead and hit the zoom function. I just hit the zoom, and it stepped in a little bit closer. I have been very happy with the resolution of this. Oh, there, it just auto-nuked again. And let's go ahead and turn the zoom off so we can just kind of look around. Different features. That's a bottom of a palm tree I'm looking at. Anyways, there's the vehicle. You can see how clean that looks. There is a little bit of, almost looks like an old TV set with a rolling function, like a horizontal function. That's not what you see on the actual viewfinder. That's my camera taking a picture of a camera. It's much like if you were to film something on an old TV set. It wouldn't come out that great. So resolution's actually a little bit better. You can see where my viewfinder is. It is not, or not the viewfinder, but the reticle. It's not really centered. That's the only thing I don't like it. After you're done zeroing, your reticle is not centered anymore in the view, which is unfortunate, especially if you have to move it quite a bit. So I wish that was something that was a little better, but right now it's worked out very well. I did have to remove the scope and the mounts and replace them all, jimmy them around, make sure they were all tightened, and I shimmed them up a little bit just to get the reticle so it was back in. It was actually out of view. It was so bad. And these are good scope rings. I was able to set up another scope with them just to see if there was a problem with this. And yeah, unfortunately, it probably just wasn't on target. Anyways, but something fixable. Just want to let you know, this is what it looks like. Let's get one more thing. I'm going to pull up the polarity, and you can see, and I just changed the polarity. So now what you're seeing is the dark is the hot. So now the polarity changed. The dark is hot, white is light. Again, the purple and green imagery that you see rolling is not on the actual viewfinder. That's just a result of me filming this. So this is a pretty amazing device for the amount of money it cost, and because I am happy enough with this. And my major complaint is that the reticle, is doesn't stay centered when you do adjust the sights. It's too bad you can't, when you reset it, it pops back up towards the center of the screen. But anyways, other than that, very happy with this. I'm not going to post pictures of the animals I was able to take out. I tell you what, I had multiple armadillos. I mean, the armadillo population out at my friend's ranch has taken a serious nosedive. Armadillo, raccoons, like I said, they all have benefits. However, they're more destructive out at the ranch and for the cattle. The hog population, I do have this on a 22. I was plinking the heck out of this one pig, and it was almost like an old arcade thing where it run in one direction. I'd pop it, all you heard was click, impact, squeal, and it turn and run the other way, click, impact, squeal, go the other back and forth. It probably dropped shortly after. Once again, these are only 22s. I am thinking of going up and either getting another one of these, the Thor LT, or I'm going to get the ATN Thor. I'm looking at the highest resolution one. I don't want something that goes far out. I'm looking at putting it on a 7.62 by 39 AR and seeing how that works out. Some of these have been amazing shots, so yeah, I kind of do want to film them now. Anyways, my review for the Thor LT is a thumbs up. And they could have some improvements, but right now I am very, very happy with this product. With these following tools, it's a pretty wonderful thing to hunt down varmints at night. I've got the FLIR monocle. Thermo monocle. It's wonderful for when you're driving in the truck or just walking around to go ahead and scan the area. You could rapidly identify varmints and what they are, or differentiate between hogs, raccoons, armadillo, and cows. We don't want none of the, they're not New Jersey deer, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so wonderful for when you're driving around looking out the window or walking around or up in a stand, wherever you are. This is wonderful to scan the area. And then the transition from a thermal image to a thermal image on the scope is fantastic. It's nice. So I'm no longer transitioning from seeing something, finding something on the thermal imagery, and then trying to find it again on maybe a night scope or with a light. I'm using another thermal scope, and I am extremely happy with the ATN Thor LT.